announcement here that there is dessert afterwards. I'd like, first of all, to welcome everybody on behalf of Yeshivat Rambam and the Yeshivat Rambam PTA. I'd like to welcome everybody to the third annual PTA award event. This has been a very special event each year from the PTA. We appreciate your patronage here. We appreciate you being here to join in. Yeshivat Rambam itself, as all of you know, represents a lot of things to our children in terms of education and culture, and also on the adult side. Yeshivat Rambam and the PTA sponsors many programs, both educationally and culturally. And unless actually something very surprising happens tonight, I think you'll find that this program falls into the culturally type program. Some other things, first of all, I'd like to extend a thank you to tonight's chairperson, Cheryl Tarragon. Who did a wonderful job. There are quite a number of names in the program. I hope you'll please read through it. There's also a number of people who deserve either special mention or who might not have been inadvertently may have been left out of the program, including Irina, and I apologize, I may be pronouncing your name wrong, Newton, Rena Roshgadol, Phyllis Sykes, Naomi and Menashe Shabtai, Barbie Parcelin, Sonia Kozlovsky, Toby Klein, Gary Honig, who worked on the sound, maybe I should say this, helped on the sound system, so if anything doesn't sound right, it's not his fault, it's probably mine for moving the mics and things around both here and in the other room. The Chesler Company for the artwork, and the law office of Michael Vogelstein for the sponsorship of tonight's event. And lastly, we'd like to thank all of you for your patronage, for support of Yeshivat Rambam and the PTA by attending and being here. Thank you very much to all the people involved. Another thing I like about Yeshivat Rambam is that I learn things from my kids. And those of you who know me knew that I grew up in Baltimore and went to Yeshiva Day School in Baltimore. But I still have the opportunity to learn many things from my kids. And one of the things that Yeshivat Rambam does that wasn't the same for me in Yeshiva Day School was they teach my kids to speak Hebrew like an Israeli with Sfardit. And also the language that I learned in Hebrew was biblical Hebrew. So when I went to Israel and I wanted to ask someone how old they were, I would ask them, Kama Yemei Shnei Chayecha. Which is straight out of the Torah, the Bible. Translated, it means, what is the days of the years of your life? And I would answer when people ask me how old I was, I would say, Yemei Shnei Megurai. Shloshim Shana, Arba Shana, which again translates, 20 years and 7 years, and which is the way it was in the Bible. Additionally, when someone once told me this, and I went to Israel somewhere, and I was saying I wanted to leave, this old building, and it came out translated. I don't know what I said, but they told me in translated, it said, "Behold, I descend from the land of my ancestors." So, and I know my kids, at least I feel proud, my kids are learning Sfardit. One of the main differences between Ashkenazi and Sfardit is like, instead of pronouncing, for instance, the Western Wall in Hebrew is Kotel, is the way we teach our kids to do it at Yeshivat Rambam, but when I grew up it was the Kosel. So the Sa versus the Ta. There's a rabbi who turned comedian, his name is Bob Albert. He says he's the only rabbi that consciously became a stand-up comic. And he tells a story that he learned, the difference when he was also a teacher, a school teacher, and he, decided when he visited Israel, he was going to go back and begin to teach his kids to talk in Sfardit instead of, Ashkenazi or whatever the other thing is, so that they would pronounce the words right. And he said he knew he was making progress with his children. He lived in California. When one of them came back one day, with his students, and one of them came back one day and said to him, Rabbi, my parents just got back from a trip to Las Vegas. Okay, now I'll leave the rest of the comedy to professionals. We're in this room right now, and this piece of the program is to pay tribute and honor an individual who has really been a part of Rambam, Yeshivat Rambam, from its birth through its maturity today to where we found today, and has really done an incredible job. Her, as well as her family, and not just her immediate family, but her extended family, have really helped a lot. Of course, I mean Adriane Kozlovsky. I just want to say a couple of things by way of introduction, the way of the things she's done for Rambam. All of you know, I'm sure, that she's one of the founding, people talk about the founding fathers of an organization. She's one of the founding mothers or founding families. Additionally, a very important role she played at the beginning of the school was heading the search committee that found us Dr. Schlush, and the school would certainly not be where it is today, first of all, without Adriane heading this committee, without Dr. Schlush having been the presence and the important part of the school that she's been. So that's certainly, if nothing else had happened for Adriane, that would have been a great accomplishment in its own. Serving many, many roles in the school, most recently for 2 years she was president of the PTA, which is one of the reasons she's receiving tonight's PTA award. And now she's retired from that to be the first lady of Rambam, married to the president of Rambam. I do hear, though, that she's not planning to run for senator in New York. Anyway, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Adriane's sister, Sheila Stein, who is a native Baltimorean, now living in New York, who will give the introduction of Adriane. Thank you very much.
Because of the age difference, she was to remain my baby sister for many, many years. And though I've had this close to speak at her wedding and at David's frisk, it's a special opportunity to present her with an award that recognizes her as a mature, accomplished individual in the community at large. I don't have to tell you about Adriane. From her childhood through her teenage years at Yeshivat, through college and graduate school until today, Adriane has always approached life with a drive, a zeal, and an energy that leave most of us breathless. Those of you who have shared in our family samachot in the past know that my father's memory is an important component in the way we mark life cycle events. At my first grandchild's bris in Israel, I asked the question, how do we get through these events with so many of those we love not with us? The answer, I feel, is that as Jews, we're fortunate enough to have a system that keeps them near us. In a continuing two-way relationship, we say Kaddish and give tzedakah in their memory to pave their way in Olam Haba, and with Kever Avot and Yisker, we ask them to watch and protect us from life's vicissitudes. We try to live our lives in a way that will make them proud and reflect back positively on their memory. Adriane would have made my father very proud, as she has made my mother and all of us proud. We grew up in a multi-generational home where we, the children, were the primary focus. Our beloved grandmother said, they will go to day schools. And our parents said, then we guess we have to make them the best schools they can be. And that's what we grew up with. With my father first as president of Yeshivat's PTA, and then as chairman of the board, we watched both parents put in countless hours wherever their skills were needed. With her involvement in Women's Branch of OU and Shul Sisterhoods, our mother taught us organizational skills and a love of communal service. So is there any question how Adriane's motivation came about? She and Harry saw a need, and no effort has been too great. The result is Rambam, and my siblings and I proudly tell anyone who will listen that my sister and her husband were the founders. We see the wonderful results in David, and soon Joanna will be joining them. And as someone who has been involved in community service for a long time, I know what it means to take giant steps when most of society would be content with baby ones. This coming week is Shabbat Zachar. We are enjoined to remember how Amalek sought to destroy us throughout history. In a Torah full of compassion and loving kindness of Rachamanut, we are instructed to hate and wipe out those who attacked us and try to destroy our very foundation. It can be a truly negative message. But can't we also, Zachar, in a positive way? Don't we have the responsibility to blot out the darkness and succeed where they would have us fail? Isn't Jewish education the most effective way to triumph and survive where our Molech would have us perish? We will continue to produce generations of, permit me to use the label, modern Orthodox Jews, who will carry the message of Yahadut, love of Israel, and fulfillment in the society around them with the devotion of leaders like my sister Adriane. I'm proud to present this award to Adriane as a testament to her tireless efforts to succeed in a most impressive way. Yeshivat Rambam PTA Leadership Award presented to Adriane Kozlovsky, a woman whose heart inspired her to approach the work and to do it. Isha Asher Nesahali Ba Likrava El Hamlacha Lasot Ota. All right.
Okay, well, I'm not disappointing anybody, I'm glad. You know, I was able to double space my speech, but I didn't make the letters big enough. So. Okay. I'd like to thank my sister Sheila and her husband Norm Adler for coming in this weekend. Certainly was not a very good weekend with her son getting married in 4 weeks. And she's making payslip for over 800 people. You think you've got it tough. I do appreciate her coming in and presenting me with this award. And I just need to mention my other sister, Bonnie Shapiro, who so wanted to be here, was not able to come in from Chicago. Those of you who know me fairly well know that I can get somewhat emotional. Although my friends are not always the most sympathetic, they know they can expect some tears. So I'm thankful that we will soon be entertained by a comedy group who will hopefully lighten things up. I have been overwhelmed by the outpouring of support by those of you willing to help with this event. I know this has been a difficult couple of weeks, and I appreciate all those who have pulled together to make this a successful evening. A lot of people here. My goal tonight is to reflect a little, give lots of thanks, and try to inspire even more. I think back and I wonder, why do I love to volunteer? Why would I rather be in school serving pizza to our kids, going on a school trip, working on a PTA project, which is PTA, more than anything else, other than providing for my own family, of course? The answer for me lies very close to home. My sister and I didn't compare notes, and we obviously have a lot of the same thoughts. As a matter of fact, it is my home. I look back to my parents. My mother, Shirley Stein, always a community person, president of women's branch of the OU, and president of the sisterhood in her shul. And even now, she is working part-time as secretary in a shul. I marvel at how many people she connects with and the wonderful stories she tells about her volunteer years. My father, David Stein, who most of you did not know, passed away soon after my bat mitzvah. However, the picture in my mind that I carry close to my heart and have actually looked at many times this week is a picture of my father, then chairman of the board of Beis Yaakov, holding me high to the microphone to make the motzi at the Beis Yaakov banquet in 1965. I didn't look 7 years old then, but it said I was. So. Our parents were workers. All the parents were workers. Many of them had free time, and it was their greatest pleasure to work for their school and their children. Barbie Porcelain and I were just reminiscing how every year our parents rolled up their sleeves literally to put on a school carnival that was known around the city as the best. When they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I'm proud to say that I'm still very much attached. and it will always stay attached in certain ways. My parents have left me with that legacy, and I publicly say thank you. My goal is to leave that same legacy for my children, the love of community service on many different levels as possible. Harry and I don't always see things in the same light, but when it comes to our commitment to Rambam and the children, we are really on the same track. I truly thank Harry for accepting that phone call 10 years ago in the hallway of Sinai Hospital Nursery, when Roz Goldberg called the day after David was born to say, we're starting a school. Are you interested? Well, we were most interested in getting David out of the hospital, but we said, yeah, it might sound like a good idea. And this week, 10 years later, my 4-year-old daughter, Joanna, had her interview with Dr. Schlush for her entry into kindergarten in the fall of this year. And not to disappoint those of you who were wondering, as Joanna sat in a large armchair in Dr. Schlush's office, and I was standing in the outer office, yes, the tears were streaming down my face. Being active in PTA has given me the opportunity to have direct contact with the administration and faculty. Working with Dr. Schlush and the entire faculty has been an experience that has taught me that commitment and caring, especially for our kids, knows no bounds. Sometimes school responsibilities get overwhelming and require many hours away from home. I must thank my in-laws, Rosalie and Kozlovsky, for always stepping in to babysit for those countless meetings and activities when both Harry and I need to leave home. This week's parasha, the one we just read, the Kude, discusses the account of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, as they were given over by Moshe for the service of the Levium. It's a detailed parasha, description by description, to every last detail: the gold, the silver, the brass, the blue, the purple, the scarlet yarn, the sockets, the pins, and the clothing of the Kohen Gadol. But you know, as the work is described and completed, it says, "V'asu b'nei Yisrael k'chol asher tzivah Hashem asher Moshe tzivah Hashem as Moshe kain asu et Moshe." Sorry. I'm a little nervous. The B'nai Yisrael did the work. They were counted on to make it happen, and they did. The Mishkan was a holy endeavor, directed by Hashem. Do I dare compare our school to the Mishkan project? The school is made up of many different components: the faculty, the administration, the curriculum, the physical building. These are the things that are visible. If you go to the school, you see them every day. But who does the school rely on day by day? Relies on the parents for their support in so many ways. We raise the necessary funds to send students to special events, to help pay for new lockers, and to give our schools that special Yom HaAtzmaut meal. But it's not just about money, it can't be. It's also providing manpower whenever necessary. Not everyone can give hours and hours to the school, but if everyone thinks deep down, the projects are there to volunteer for, whether making phone calls for the phone squad, making a meal for the Chesed committee, or volunteering an hour or two for a PTA project. PTA used to be PTA, but we needed to change it for PTA for administrative reasons. So I thank everyone for tonight, to all who came on Friday to prepare for those hours, and believe me, I wanted to be there more than anything, and tonight to help set up. A few special thank yous to Phyllis Sykes, Rita Roshgadol, Sonia Kozlovsky, Naomi Shabtai, Toby Klein, Cheryl Tarragon. Cheryl, we missed you, but we're glad that you are back doing what you do so well. This is a night that I will never, ever forget, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of a parent body who truly cares, is really there for our children, and can be counted on to get the job done. What greater legacy could we leave? Thanks.
I always thought PTA was PTA and Spartit.
I'd like to thank my mom and my dad for always being there. And I'd like to thank my Bubby, my grandmother, and my grandfather. Same reasons. and I'm cutting short on time, so thank you everyone for coming to watch the celebration of my mother, and I believe that she has earned it.
Thank you, David. I think you spoke for all of us. You're now all invited to go into the main auditorium for the rest of tonight's program. I'd like to ask that you please follow the seating arrangements. Benefactors, the first 3 rows are reserved for benefactors.
No, we're sitting on back. We're sitting back. Yes, but one row, not the first row. Can you notice the next one?
Okay, can you move this way, please? Right, one more. Okay. A little bit more. Okay, one more. Gotcha. Great. Dick, you stay where you are. Okay, very good. Okay. Smile. 1, 2, 3. Hold on a second. I'm not finished. Close your mouth. Me? No, I'm talking to you.
Let's take a smile.
No, you can smile. Very good. Be good. Very good. 1, 2. Thank you.